back, welcome back, welcome back. I'm your host, Ill Will. This is the Remote Generation channel, and y'all already know these are the last days. First, giving all honor, glory, and respect to the Most High God, His Son, and the Holy Spirit. With them, we can do all things. Without them, we can do nothing. So, lately, we've seen a whole lot of celebrity deaths, one after the other. A whole lot of sacrifices, one after the other. But what we need to realize, we're spending a whole lot of time, energy, and emotion for these celebrities. Now, nothing's wrong with mourning over someone that's lost. But we don't stop to consider the fact that many children are going missing on a daily basis. And they themselves are becoming sacrifices. How much time and energy do we spend considering that? How much time and energy do we spend praying for these children and for their safety? If there's one thing anybody knows about me is that I love children. I love children because of the innocence that they have. They don't have any racist tendencies. They don't hate people for any reason. They're pure. And I find it very saddening and sickening that powerful men in this world, powerful men and women in this world, use these children as pawns and pieces to do evil, disgusting rituals to Satan. You know, the celebrities who sign the deals, that's one thing. But these children who are innocent, that's a whole nother story. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to a lady named Jeanette Archer, and she's going to tell us about her experience as a child in satanic ritualistic abuse that ties in with the queen and the people of the royal family. Some of this may be hard to believe. Some of y'all may not be able to comprehend or understand how these things could happen. But what you must remember is that in Genesis, we were told there's a serpent seed and a woman seed, and there would be enmity between those two. That enmity that was between those two is your conscience, the thing that tells you right from wrong. You have to understand, people who are able to do these things don't have a conscience. They're able to perpetuate this vile, wicked lifestyle because they have no conscience. I'm not going to give too much commentary, but we are going to talk about the start of the Masons when we get to that point. Thank everybody for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Amazing.
Come on, baby.
Let's go. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is my message to the world. This is the truth about our royal family, who so many of you admire. Today you're going to know who they really are, and more to the point, you're going to know what they really are. And you're going to know what goes on behind those walls. And what I'm going to say right at the beginning of this, that I only speak of my own experiences. So everything I tell you today is my truth and what I witnessed and what I experienced and what I went through behind these walls. I have 2 testimonies of other survivors who want to remain anonymous. So of course we will respect that today. But first of all, I'm going to tell you my story. Okay guys, I think we're ready to go. So this is my message to the world. If anybody for the first time in their lives is hearing this, please be brave. Because what I want to tell you, how it feels for you to hear, is nothing in comparison to how it feels for children to go through this. Nothing. You will never, ever, in your whole lifetime, unless you have been a survivor and a victim of satanic ritual abuse, you will never know what this feels like. So when you feel like turning away and not hearing what I'm about to say, I want you to imagine being 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old and going through this. Because that's how old I was. I was 3 years old when I was brought here. And I was being brought here till about 8 or 9. And that's as good as my memory served. It might have been longer, it might have been sooner than that, but that is my memories to date. My name is Jeanette Archer. I am a survivor of satanic ritual abuse. I am also a survivor of our royal family. Today I have chosen to return to Windsor Castle to tell the world the truth about what really goes on inside those walls. Today I want to tell the world about what these people really are, especially her that wears the crown.
Scum! Satanic scum!
As a child, the police would come to my home and collect me. And they would bring me here. Uniformed police in their police cars would collect me and bring me here. The police who swear an oath to serve and protect the public, they would deliver me to the evil that is behind these gates. What I am sure of, though, is those waiting for me to be delivered, for us to arrive, groups of children, they wouldn't have known that actually it was the police that would always rape us first.
Shame on you! You know it! Freemasons! Freemasons!
They thought behind those walls that the police were delivering pure children that hadn't been tampered with. But I was beaten and raped multiple times before I even was put in the car to be brought here. So here I am, stood here for the first time as an adult survivor. I'm ready to tell the world the truth about Windsor Castle. Yes. Ready to tell the world the truth about the evil atrocities that are inflicted on children at the hands of our royal family. My time spent here took me to the depths of depravity, a hell on earth that only a survivor of satanic ritual abuse can ever understand. The main events, and they are events, they're advertised on the satanic calendar. They have their own calendar. It's a satanic ritual abuse calendar. There's a big date coming up at the end of this month. It's called Halloween, All Hallows Eve. They celebrate Halloween in there, but not like you do, with fireworks, masks, pumpkins. They celebrate Halloween in there with mass sacrifice of babies and children.
Have evidence to back up stories like Teresa's, that this is really happening?
Well, we have that age of child, 6, 5 and 4, giving information that ties up with Teresa. How do those children know? How do those children able to describe rituals, to talk about ceremonies, to talk about sacrificing animals? How do those children know?
Nightmares, imagining it?
You can't imagine those things at 3 and 4 years old, and you also don't have the evidence of anal sex abuse and oral sex abuse and all that other abuse that clearly those children have experienced and endured.
During these ceremonies, was Satan, the devil, ever referred to?
He was called Lucifer.
What did they say about the devil, about Lucifer?
That killing the people made him happy.
Sacrifices to please the devil.
Mass rituals. That's how they celebrate Halloween. And that's coming up in a couple of weeks. So in this week's leading up to Halloween, do you know what they're doing? They've got their minions. They've got their minions out on the streets, abducting children. They've got their breeders that are bred, raped, impregnated, so their babies are born ready for October 31st, ready for mass sacrifice. Have I gone off? No. Mass rituals. That's how they celebrate Halloween. So these main events, because they are events on their calendars that go on inside these walls, were called hunting games. And large mass rituals. Research it, yeah. Everything I'm telling you here today, you can go away and research. Everything. Queen Elizabeth is the head of the Freemasons. The Freemasons are a shop front for satanic ritual abuse. Even your first initiation is satanic, isn't it? Because I know there are plenty of you around here that are in the Freemasons. And you cannot deny you know what you know. To get to a 33rd degree Freemason level, you have to sacrifice a baby.
Excuse me as I make a brief interjection, but it's very important that we understand the beginning of what we know today as the Masons. In days of old, they were known as the Order of Mahan. Now, if you read certain texts that these rich and powerful people would like you not to read, you get understanding. Now, Christ told us that Satan was a murderer from the beginning. And Benelli and those who followed after him came to Cain and gave unto him the title of Master Mahan, which title was given to him of the highest order of this secret society, which society was set up to get gain and maintain power among the people. And it happened then that Satan swore loyalty to Cain, just as Cain swore loyalty by his own life, that neither he nor his brethren, who would rise after him in the priesthood order proposed by Satan, would reveal the secrets of this order to the righteous sons of Adam. With this, Satan proposed to Cain to deliver Abel into his hands and to take possession of all his flocks and goods and to make him supreme master in the order of the priesthood Mahan, whose source of power came from the devil. Where did it come from? The devil. When you do the etymology of Mahan, it goes to Mason. It's right there in front of you. This is not something I'm making up. It's clear as day. I just showed you two different records that talk about the priesthood or the order of Mahan. Now, who was the first murderer? That's right. It was Cain, killing his brother. If you listen to what Jeanette Archer just told you, and many others have as well, but if you listen to what she just told you, in order to get to the ever so coveted 33rd degree, you must kill. You must murder somebody. Again, Christ told us Satan was a murderer from the beginning. He was a murderer from the beginning because he had Cain kill Abel. This is nothing new. So when you hear about these sacrifices that people commit, this is part of what it takes to follow Lucifer. In John 8:44, it says, "Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. His own is that same serpent seed." Let's go.
I know what goes on, and the world knows what goes on, and they're going to know even more after today, because everything I'm saying is going to be heard around the world. In between these events, I would be held in an underground dungeon. The dungeons in here are big, dark, cold spaces. They are below. They are underground, but you have to go into the buildings to get to them. There are many of these Crown estates that have tunnel systems. Buckingham Palace has a tunnel system, another place where I was also taken. And the tunnel system goes through to Parliament, where we also have Freemasons and Satanists.
We started investigating these secret satanic cults when a British member of Parliament linked them with the ritual murder of children.
But here, the dungeons, you have to go inside to reach them. My memory tells me there were three different dungeons that I was taken to, with different setups for different torture. There may be more dungeons than that here, but as I said, I will only tell you what I know for sure, fact, that comes from my memories. And I remember there to be 3. The dungeons in Windsor Castle are kitted out for torture. There would always be a man and a woman in these dungeons, inflicting the torture. Always one of each, always a man and a woman. I was often chained onto a wall and left hanging. One dungeon is set up for that, where you are taken and there were big iron rings on the walls and iron things that went round the neck, and you would be put onto the wall and just left freely hanging. There was another dungeon that specialised in water torture. I think in the Western world, or in other worlds, we call it waterboarding. It's just torture. It's water torture. Water torture was always used when I was here. It was used to brainwash, which is why there was always a man and a woman, because the woman would play good cop, bad cop. Let's put it that way, okay? That's how they start brainwashing children to believe that you need to be rescued by the woman. My mother would be the one sitting at the head, stroking my face, telling me, there, mummy's here, while I was being tortured down the other end with hot red pokers. This is why they use a man and a woman. And there's a man and a woman that occupies each one of those dungeons. The water torture is mainly for brainwashing. They never, ever, ever want us to come out of there and speak, which is why there are so few survivors that can do this. I will be in trauma for days after doing this, but I will regret not 1 second of it.
True warrior!
Yeah. True warrior.
So the 3 different dungeons, 3 different types of torture. They were set up to make sure we were silenced forever. It didn't work. It didn't stop me, because now I'm back.
Yeah!
Hunting games. Let me tell you how they play hunting games. Many, many children are brought in for this, van loads. In the 70s, they were brought in from children's homes. They were brought in from the satanic families, like the one that I grew up in. We would be held captive, I never know how long, days, hours, depending on when we arrived and when the games would begin. We would all be taken out of captivity, stripped naked. The only thing we were allowed to wear was a wristband. That wristband told the elites, the Satanists, whether they could kill us or they have to leave us alive. That was it. Each Satanist, royal family members, lords, elites of this country. Some of them like to chase the children that they can kill. Some of them like to chase the children that are left alive. Because I was raised in a satanic family, I got the wristband that said they were never allowed to kill me. Yeah, thank God for that. We would stand around. It was an automatic thing for the older children, and I classed myself, as the years went on, as an older child, so I would have been 6, 7, 8 years old. As an older child, we would then take the hands of the little ones. The little ones that were there, 3 years old, their first time being brought in for a hunting game. Stay on the pavement, guys. First time being brought in for a hunting game. Of course, they were terrified. They were already crying. Us older kids, we knew. We were trained by now. We never made a sound that would go off. It was the sound of a bugle. Guys, any of you that are listening that aren't with us today, please feel free to join us. You can come over and join us. If you stand with us, you stand with stopping satanic ritual abuse. And all you guys and women out there in your civil uniforms, this is exactly what you should be doing. Those people in there that you think you're protecting, they are killing the children. They have been doing it for hundreds of years.
Yes.
But this is where it stops. This is where they get exposed.
It's time.
It's time. It's time. So guys, if you want to come and join us and find the courage to stand up for the children in this world, you are more than welcome. So we'd be given our wristbands, the older kids. We'd take the hands of the little kids who would be crying and breaking. And then we would wait. We would wait for the sound of the bugle. I think that's the same sound they sound when they go off on a fox hunt, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a hunting game. They don't just hunt foxes. They hunt children. The sound of the bugle meant we could run. Us older kids, we knew that it was futile. We knew there was no point. But the terror that runs through our veins, that makes your blood run cold, would send us running as fast as we could, holding the hands of the little ones, trying to save them from the terror that we knew was about to happen. The women would watch on. Seems it was a man's sport in there. The women would watch on and clap and cheer, whilst their men then chased us. Naked children with wristbands on. The women would watch on while their men hunted, raped, and murdered the children. What I remember very clearly is the children with the wristbands, like myself, that were left alive. We were very, very few in comparison. We were probably 1 in 10. And my memory is that when the hunting games were over and the bugle sounded again, I knew that my orders, my instructions, were to work my way back, walk back to where we started from. And I would have to walk over the dead bodies. The blood was everywhere. Some children that they murdered weren't quite dead, and they were left wriggling and suffering. They're the reason I'm back here. They're the ones that haven't got their voices. They're the ones that were silenced forever. And I just want to remind you about what I said at the beginning. If you think this is hard to hear, I want you to imagine what it's like for these children to live through. And if at the end of this, all you civil servants in your uniforms want to continue protecting them, then I hope it fucking haunts you in your nightmares.
He thinks he's fucking funny there.
Yeah, Mr. Bloody Smart over there.
Shame on
Have you got children?
Shame on you.
Okay, guys.
Disgrace!
Okay, guys.
Disgrace!
Let's carry on. What I will tell you is this. I think that
it's real children.
Look at that smirk on his face.
I think, guys, I think that most of the people here are parents. Are you fathers? Are you children? I want you to imagine if this was yours. Because just as it doesn't happen to you, it doesn't mean it doesn't matter. It matters. There are children in there now.
Every child matters.
Every child matters.
Yes.
And the world needs to know the truth.
Yes!
And it doesn't know the truth.
And if you are if you are complying and you are complicit to keeping these secrets, then shame on you.
Shame on you! Shame on you! The truth's coming out, and it ain't really held back.
The other events, so that's hunting games, guys. And like I say, my worst memories are when it was over, because I can't feel the physical pain anymore about what happened to me when they captured me. But here's the thing, in hunting games, the comfort that we took, the older children, that all we would have to endure was just being raped by one person, one man. And in comparison, by what goes on in rituals, where we are raped by 10, 20, 30 people in the space of an evening.
How many men or how many people would have sex with you?
What, at one time?
Yes.
About everyone who was there, which must have been about 20. You know, from 10 to 20 people. If it was a big ceremony, it used to be 30.
What would your grandma be doing when these men were forcing themselves on you?
Usually laughing. Or smiling. Or having sex with another man. Or other men.
A chronicle of debauchery and depravity so horrific it's hard to believe. You have to ask yourself, could Teresa be just making it up?
No. I know what's true and what's not. No, I know what I saw.
The hunting games was a fucking doddle. We weren't tortured in the hunting games. How horrific does it need to be that we could comfort ourselves with the very thought that, oh, we'll only be raped once by one person and then we'll be left alone? So the worst memories for me was watching the little ones, because they always had the wristbands. And I knew that how they were going to end up. And I knew that they were going to be the dead bodies on the floor with the blood pouring out of them that I would have to tread over in the end to get back to the starting line. So let me tell you about mass rituals that go on in there, behind those walls, at the hands of our royalty.